Hey y'all, we continue in chapter 13, the coldest winter ever. On Sunday, the pressure was on for many reasons. First off, my stash was down to $375. It was the smallest amount of money I had in a long time. I was surrounded by a sense of panic. All I could think about was loot. Several times I caught myself pacing back and forth with various calculations racing through my head. As my pacing got faster and faster, I grew more and more angry. Every plan I was start to cook up would hit a dead end for one reason or another. With Soldier out of the house for the afternoon and Lauren, who woke up mad late in the shower, I began to walk all over the apartment. I looked at everything on the fifth floor. Believe it or not, there was nothing of value that I could see. Maybe the answer was on the second, third, or fourth floor. I pictured myself going to the pawn shop with an elephant tusk. I erased that thought. I knew Doc might have had some jewelry down there in her apartment, or maybe even a strong box or safe. Now, the bottom line was I couldn't create or crack a safe. It wasn't my line of work. But as my forehead broke out in a small sweat, I was willing to consider anything. Second cause of my attention today was the womanhood meeting. I was itching to bounce. The reality that I had no place to go was pissing me off, because I'm not that dependent type. I would be forced to attend another boring event. Somehow I was hoping that I could make it work for me. The difficult would be seeing Rashida again, who I was determined to avoid completely. Let's go see Doc, I told Lauren. Nah, you go. I gotta make some calls, she said. Perfect. I went down to strike up a conversation and see what I could see. Doc was on the first floor. I heard her moving around behind the two wide wooden doors. I knocked softly. There was no response, so I knocked a little harder. How you doing, Sasha? She said in a pleasant voice, but looking distracted. I was a little bored. Curiosity led me down here to see you. Oh, really? What are we curious about? She asked like I was a preschooler. About what you do. I'm fascinated with the fact that you're a doctor, I said, speaking her language while gassing her up for my plan. I didn't know you were interested in medicine. Yeah, very. I looked past her figure into her office. Well, come on. Let me show you around. Now, all I had to say was I was interested in medicine. She showed me every slide under a microscope, every test tube, instrument, and even the tables her patient lied down on. She pointed out chalks on the wall. Breast self-examination, pregnancy information. She would ask me, when is the last time you had a checkup? I don't remember, I responded. Well, that doesn't sound good, she said, looking as if she wanted to examine me or something. Well, once you become a young woman like yourself, you need to get regular exams and a pap smear every 6 months. Pap who? Pap smear is part of a vaginal examination. We check for any sexually transmitted diseases, cervical cancer, everything. Since your mom had cancer, you had to be extra careful. She pulled out a long steel tube. It looks worse than it feels, she said. This is a spatula. It is used in gynecology exam. Don't point that thing at me, I joked as if it were a gun. This is a serious matter, Sasha. Are you sexually active? I knew the answer to that question would lead me into a trap, so I said, no, not yet. The doctor raised an eyebrow and twisted up her face. She didn't want to call me a liar, but I could tell she didn't believe me either. She walked away as if she was insulted. Opening a small drawer, she pulled out a gang of condoms. All right, even though you're not sexual active, she said sarcastically, take these just in case something unexpected pops up. And if I wanted an exam, how much would it cost? Do you have coverage? She asked. Not right now. What would it run me? Well, usually it will be $150, but since you're a house guest, I'll be willing to examine you at no charge. You pay the lab fees. I'll think about it, I said. Don't wait too long, she said, with the serious concern I had grown to hate. Talking to Doc for half an hour had got me more useful information than 8 days with the upstairs duo. I had peeped the strong box where I was sure Doc kept her money. I had figured even on a bad day, she had at least had 2 patients who paid her $150 in cash, depending upon what day she goes to the bank and whether or not she goes every week. There could be a minimum of 1,500 weekly or 3 grand every 2 weeks in that lockbox. I will watch her carefully, get to know her. I wouldn't be satisfied until I be able to see what kind of treasure she had on each floor of this castle. After all, she pushed the bins. She paid the bills, so what was I wasting my time with the other two for? Right away, I understood why Lauren said she went to the womanhood meeting for the laugh. As a gazillion chick with an assortment of bad taste filled into the big room on a Sunday night, I bugged at the whole scene. Girls with turbans on like they were straight out of the desert. Girls with ashy feet and ashy elbows. A bunch of fake jewelry, cheap shoes, and bald heads. I couldn't believe that these girls couldn't understand that the real problem was they had no style. How are you going to be a female with a head full of unkempt nappy hair or a fade like a man? Now they didn't all look the same, but they all looked busted. Some of them were young, like 15. Some of them seemed as old as 35 or 40. I'm thinking if you're 40 years old getting advice from a 25-year-old, you might as well hang it up. A wave of girls came in 10 minutes later. They was regular block girls. What a combination. Everybody stood around eating cheese and crackers, celery sticks, curds, dip, and other types of rabbit food. When Soldier came out of her room in the back, they all got quiet like she was confusion or kung fu or something. When she sat down, they all sat down like dummies. I spotted Rashida's pitiful ass and bounced my eyes into another direction. Determined to get my attention, she picked up her chair. She picked her chair up and moved it to where I was, squeezing herself in a small space. How's it going? She asked, all overexcited. I held my finger to my mouth. Shh. I said I was really interested in the meeting. Soldier started talking. Well, the purpose is for us as women, especially young women, to come together, learn from each other, and prepare for our future. If we plan well, we will be in control of our lives instead of being in control for the rest of our lives. Hopefully, all of us can improve the way we think and the things we do as a result of how we think. Then Soldier gave out booklets. Booklets. This is a list of the books we'll be reading for this class. I say that when she lost me, and about half of the girls in here, when we looked at the list of 10 books to be read over a period of 1 year, we were like, she crazy. We didn't even have to say it to one another. It was a silent agreement. One of the girls couldn't take the silence, so she blurted out and said, well, it seems to me like the main issue is money. I can't here to get with some other girls like myself who trying to get paid. We can get parties, do bus rides, all that shit. Once everybody gets a little bit of money in their pocket, then all of us will feel a little better. Then Soldier moved to shut her down, even though at least half of us could feel what that female was kicking. Money is important, no doubt, Soldier said. But there is some business we like to take care of before money comes into the equation. And I'll be back, y'all.